Ho ho! We are live here, coming straight and direct at you. So, hey guys, it's the minute to win it. Let's let this buffer out a little bit. And there's no better minute to win it guy that I know than our boy Sam Nolman 12. Yeah, the beer master himself. He's got so much goddamn beer, it's coming out of the woodwork around his place.
That's right. That's sadly actually right.
Give us the rundown, Sam. How did that happen?
Well, it helps to work at a really fancy liquor store, and when you when you're required to and to sell it well, you have to be able to drink a lot of it and know a lot about it. So they're like, here, you just have this. You just have this. And I have tried so many like $100 to $200 whiskeys. It's amazing. The things I could never afford, and I've tried most of them, and you don't need to buy the $200 bottle of whiskey, guys. the $50 one will do you just fine, I swear.
Oh, that's great, man.
But yeah, like it's a fun job. I've been really enjoying it.
Awesome.
Hey, here's a question for you while we let it buffer.
Yes.
You know how 90s comics, there's just a feel to them, right? You know what you're getting with a 90s comic, right?
Yes, definitely. We know. All right, I know.
Do you think there will be one for the 2020s?
Ooh, that's good, because 2000s was probably like decompression. Brian Michael Bendis kind of took over, and then 20
slower storyline.
Yeah, or exactly. Just kind of like being able to just really decompression storytelling, really getting into things. I think that kind of took over the 2000s and 2010s. Man, what is that? It might have, I don't know, maybe the exploration of new storylines, new retakes, but that kind of always happens. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't necessarily know, Sam. That's really good insight, though.
I have I think the 10s maybe was synergy with the movies.
Oh, that's a good one.
Maybe that's what, like, maybe not entirely, but they were like, a lot of 2010 comics were like, there's a Captain Marvel book coming out right now, movie coming out. Maybe make sure there's a book out right now. Like, and that's still going on, but I feel like that the 2010s really hit that.
Love it. Yeah, I'm down. That sounds perfect. And then so to the 2020s, we're not even halfway through, but I would gotta say that like it feels like there's been a changing of the guard. Not everything is Hickman and Jason Aaron anymore. Tinian has really stepped up. Scott Snyder's now like the old, kind of like an older writer, with like Jeff Lemire and Scott Snyder, where they used to be the young guns. Now they're the veterans, and we get to see new, cool, exciting people come in. So that's exciting. I do like to see the changing of the guard, and but still, of course, I still want those masters to keep doing what they do. I mean, you don't want Ed Brubaker to stop making crime books. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, like something that I thought maybe of 2020 is like, maybe I'm wrong here, but like, have you guys sensed that like there's a reemergence of the superstar comic artist or author?
Yeah, with Tom King.
Yeah, with like Tom King, or maybe like if Scott Snyder makes a book, people are like, oh, okay. If I feel like a lot of that has reemerged, and like a lot of like those guys did their independent stuff, and a lot of people went over there and read a lot of that stuff too. So I think it's kind of like a reemergence of the superstar artist or writer again, which is cool. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Probably, I mean, I think Tom King's probably exudes it the best. I mean, there's still some stuff Scott Snyder does that people just still don't buy, even when it's like independent and stuff like that. But it does seem if Tom King's writing a book, it sells a lot. So that brings us into a comic book look. Minute to win it, guys. Let's check this intro.
A comic book look, your weekly TV show on comic book culture.
I love it every time. So
Inspiring. I always love it.
all right, everybody, we are here with a comic book look, and we're ready to end cap this 2024 with the best of a comic book look. Not only, excuse me, the best of comic books from the a comic book look angle. So with me, I got my boy Johnny Runyon. How you doing, man?
Doing awesome. Thank you for having me incredibly last minute.
Oh God, when John's jumping on, it makes my night like 1,000 times better. So good to hang, brother.
Absolutely.
And of course, the youngest homie on the comic book look block. What's up, Sam? How you doing, man?
Man, today can't be better. It's awesome. I always love doing the show with you guys. You never get to talk about comics enough, and it's awesome to be on a show where I just can.
And Sam, I think that poster that you have right over your shoulder could not be better than this week with that new James Gunn poster. I mean, I feel like my daughter's been watching Smallville. That got us to watch the first Spider, or the first reboot of Superman with like Kevin Costner as the dad and Diane Lane as the mom and stuff.
Yeah.
So fun. So like we are Supermaned up right now. So yeah, I think that poster is right. Superman's on the precipice of being back. We need Superman. We need hope. We need that for our world right now. Let's think of positive comic booking. The best part about Superman is always like you think it's like he is always in a Gotham City, but during the day. So everything's brighter, lighter, and less heavy than what a lot of the stuff that we have to deal with. So it's like I can't wait to have Superman back in the zeitgeist again. And so yeah, great moves this week from James Gunn putting out that poster. I'm definitely excited for it.
And I told it to John last time we tuned in, but it's kind of a funny thing that happened to me. Like I started reading comics for Spider-Man and Batman. Those are my two boys I read consistently. And as like I'm approaching almost 10 years in reading comics now, which is kind of crazy for me now that I think about. But I stopped reading Spider-Man. I just didn't really dig the previous run. And I didn't know the new writer got on it. So I'm like a little late. And I've read Batman, but I have slowly and progressively become such a fanboy for Superman. It has become ridiculous. Like every time, like I look on my like two reads, it's another Superman book, and I'm like, oh, I'm not mad about this at all. Let's go. And I have to, when I read my graphic novels, I remember I have to tell myself, you can't read another Superman book.
Of course, man.
That's so good. I love that book so much. But yeah, like Superman. It's never been a better time to love Superman, and because we got hopefully a fantastic movie coming out. We have a bunch of new books coming out for him, and there's just a lot of love for the character. So it's a fantastic time.
Totally. And I want to shout out some of Superman's biggest fans. Garrett from Wednesday Comics, obviously. Shaq, the basketball player, and then Joey from NSYNC. I mean, those are three have been tried and true Superman fans forever. So I'm just saying the swath is wide for people that love Superman.
I did not know Shaq was a Superman fan. That is amazing.
He's got a huge tattoo of Superman. Yeah, man. It's so sweet. So anyway, guys, this is the best of 2024. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's been a year. We are coming to a close. It's been a wild year for all of us for lots of different reasons. Comics being probably the least wildest shit that's happened.
They've been pretty wild, though.
But still, thank you, John. Yeah, it's still been pretty damn wild, right?
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Let's start talking about 2024 in a whole. Before we get into, we are going to talk about our best series, our best single comic, our best writer, who's going to get the Academy Award for best comic, and then best artist. But before we get into those, like, I want to hear your recap of 2024 in a nutshell, how you felt it was for comics, how your relationship to the comics that you read went to, and, in your long life, both of your guys' long lives of being a comic fans, how was 2024? Sam, let's start out with you.
That is a very good question.
That's a crazy question.
I guess I will have to interpret this in how I have been reading 2024 books and what I perceived it to be. I would say this is the year that I think, for me personally, the where like I truly knew where my interests lied with comic books, where I wasn't just kind of grabbing for whatever sake and like really trying a bunch of stuff. This was a year I kind of went and kind of honed in what I really enjoyed, which turned out to be a lot of DC, but also a fair bit of independent stuff again. Marvel kind of got the sad end of that one. They still had a lot of fun books, just like nothing that rang super huge for me. But the year, I think, per se, was a fantastic time if you were a fan of smaller characters a lot of times. That maybe not in stature, but in like just like osmosis in the mainstream.
Yeah, you're not talking Ant-Man. You're talking
Yeah.
whatever, Kite Man or whatever.
So there was a lot of characters out there that got books, and there's a lot of things that like returns to things that we thought would never happen again. Like Cassie Kane, the Batgirl, has a new series coming out right now, and like I thought that was way done. Like nobody cared about that. We're going back to Barbara, but we got her back. Marvel decided to go full tilt into their horror stuff, and that was like you never really thought like.
Yeah, full tilt. I love that. Yeah, you're right. They tried, but I don't know. Did they?
How do you not like? I don't know. Like, there was like every time I looked down those shelves, there was like another Ghost Rider book. There was another like the only character that didn't get a book was Morbius, and that's probably okay. A lot of like characters that didn't really get a lot on the scene got some love here, and independent books by bigger creators got a big bump up this year with Ghost Machine, and a lot of well-known people went out and decided to do their own stuff with a lot of independent things, and it's pretty cool to see that. So I think this year was kind of a distillation of just like comics kind of going back into just trying to be fun comic books in a way where people can just enjoy and read them, other than just kind of like collecting and speculating on who's going to get the next movie kind of thing. Yeah. And that's at least how I perceived it. And that's what I really liked about it this year. It just was comics because comics are cool.
Oh yeah, Sam, I think that's a great. Now, that's one perspective, but now let's talk about our comic book, master, Johnny Runyon. What was this year like for you, homie?
This year was insane, first of all. To Sam's point, Marvel was like, hey, John, we're sorry you bought all of our Dark Reign offerings and other events because that's how we get you. But now we're going to put every character you've ever wanted to collect out on the shelves. And buying all of those while getting the old stuff proved to be a very expensive year in comics for me. But yeah, I would say, indie-wise, there was some cool stuff. Power Rangers ultimately kind of came to an end for me. I don't know if that actually was this year or not. That's how far behind I was. I think that it was like the earlier part of this year, but I just like wrapped that up like probably like 2 months ago or something. But on the flip side, making comic books like this one from Bamboo Panel Studios is really exciting too. And so having 2 projects out this year, I won't even say how much money went into making those, but it's been really fun seeing people buy it, to see people enjoy it, and to connect and represent, us across the globe in that capacity. So I don't know. It's been a fun year. Crazy, wild. Marvel definitely has my number right now with the scary stuff, which tells me, Tom, that 2025 might be a little more affordable for me because these things are always a small print run.
That's right. And it is all cyclical. So it's like it will ebb and flow. And if we're getting tons of Ghost Rider right now, we know soon we're going to get tons of Wolverine, Deadpool, and Punisher or something. You know what I mean? It's like it all ebbs and flows. And I really love that. That's why I really wanted to hear John's take this year, is because John really went from somebody who has been in the comic industry working as on the retail level, been a fan for years and years and years, and now he's actually a producer, a curator of actual comics and he's producing actual comics. So I just love to get your take on it, John. I think, you inspire a lot of the people that we have that are listening out here, and everybody's really excited for where
This
Bam
guy right here, even.
Of course, because we got, you inspired, you gave Sam the opportunity, and he's a published writer now, because of the kind of groundwork that you laid, Johnny. So it's pretty cool. And, yeah, man. So congrats on that.
Well, I actually need to pass those roses over to you, Tom, because it's you and it's Mikey and Empire and Zeke and Miles and everybody that really went for it. So I don't know. I got to give credit where it's due. I'm happy to inspire, but I can't say that I was leading the charge necessarily.
No, I think we're all doing it in cool ways, though. That's for sure. So, and you found yourself a whole new, really cool way as well, working with artists around the world and all sorts of different things. So it's really amazing.
It's fun.
What about you, Mr. Tom? Then?
Yeah, 2024, I would say for me, good year in comics. A lot to what like Sam was saying. I don't try as much unless I know it's going to be in my genre. I'm not really reading tons of superheroes. I'm not really reading DC or Marvel. That's not like a new update. I mean, but I'll check in. Like, hey man, I'm checking in on the all in stuff. Batman's a little weird, whatever. I can run with it. But I like now I feel like I know exactly who I like, and I know exactly who I love, and I love enough people that almost every single month there's something that's super, super impactful coming out that I really, really like. And I think also being, having an LCS is really crucial to me getting those comics. But on the other hand, I'm buying a ton of comics directly from Instagram, directly from creators, from people's Patreon. The world of, how people support other people is constantly growing through Kickstarter, all sorts of different things. So I think that kind of for me lays out 2024, right? Yes, I know what I want. It's not always every Wednesday that at the LCS where I'm going to find what I want. And so I'm looking there as well as massive amounts of other places to find what I want. And then in turn, I truly have been able to pick up the best books of the year and find so many great things. So 2024 is a great year. Anybody who thinks that it was a down year in comics is an absolute clown, because it was a great year in comics. And I think with what we'll talk about from here is going to really prove that. You know what I'm saying, boys?
100%. Absolutely.
Well, absolutely. And absolutely. So now let's get into the actual ceremony of the entire thing. Okay, this is, the pretend that is where we just walked down the red carpet. Okay, I've already told, thank you. There's the Oscar. It's very much.
Why do you have that?
So this is actually from my friend Sarah, and it says #1 gay BFF.
John wins that every time.
Hell yeah.
It's like on my computer.
Keeps on holding up the Oscars for gay BFF. So yeah, no, we're going to talk best single comic, best series, best artist, best writer, best graphic novel. And let's start with best graphic novel. And it's not like you guys are even always buying graphic novels. I know that you're not necessarily graphic novel folks, but I wanted to relay this to you. Maybe there's a series that was wrapped up before from a creator that you liked, or maybe there was something a graphic novel from the past that you read this year that was impactful to you. The best part about a comic book look awards is that it actually doesn't matter if it's from 2024. It's actually just what our opinions are and what we read this year. So, Sam, do you have a entry for best graphic novel of 2024?
I do. And I have showcased this on the show beforehand, but what I appreciate this book for is, well, for what it is, first and foremost, but also what it might represent.
Hell yeah.
I was showing this to John. I got the omnibus of DC versus Marvel. This is my one, this and the Amalgam one that's coming out next year is my lone exceptions to my graphic novel challenge that is still going on. So this was actually kind of a challenge to find one. I was like, oh, I'm not buying those anymore this year. Okay, but this is the one exception. This is a fantastic look back at all the crossovers that have been happening since the original one, Superman versus Spider-Man, all the way to the last one that happened like 2004, I think. And what I love about this was that like this was a time when when both companies kind of had to collaborate, because they knew like if they didn't do it, they might be in trouble. And it's sad that that's the only reason they did this. Why don't we have more of these? Isn't it cool to see characters cross over like this, especially from Marvel and DC? So when they said, "Hey, we're reprinting that stuff in a whole new omnibus. Do you want that?" I said, absolutely. And maybe if this sold well, because I think it definitely did, maybe this opens the door to new crossovers for characters and stuff. I want to see Superman versus, I don't know, insert character here. Superman versus Punisher. That's actually going to be crazy. But like, I want to see all these crazy things like where they can just let their imagination go, and it can be a little less 90s horrific, honestly, in some of those crossovers. But I just really hope this tells DC and Marvel that people want this kind of stuff. And I've read the first story in it, which is Superman Spider-Man. It's very fun. There's a panel in it where Lex Luthor is just having the best time laughing his butt off on the back of Doc Ock as Doc Ock is just walking on all his eight arms. It is a great read. It's going to take me a while to finish it. Rest assured,
it's going to take you a long time to finish that. And it's funny because those are the best hitters, right? You should come in, read one comic, and then you're done. It's not necessarily that you want to just sit down and read the entire thing. So that's just such a fun book to have, because you should almost take a year to read that, because they are such fun little stories. They're always kind of dumb. They're always, nothing ever lasts forever, because they are these crossovers that can't affect. But the best part of this, Sam, is both Marvel and DC in their contracts are constantly trying to protect their best characters. So they have written into the contracts like this can't happen to Superman. You can't do this to Spider-Man. Batman can't do this. And so I always love to play a fun game with those and be like, what are some of these things? Oh, it looks like Superman can't get punched in the face, or he can't lose to this. And I love seeing all of how the storytellers weave around the limitations of the editors.
And sometimes it makes the story even better.
Yeah, exactly. It's all fun. So that's a great graphic novel. Love to see it. I'll go next year. My graphic novel of the year is Charles Burns' Final Cut. This is a beautiful, beautiful book with a really nice cover, nice large size print, telling a very story of kind of a nerdy person who wants to make a movie and who is in love with this woman who's possibly not in love with him, and just the intricacies of how that happens. Still in this very eerie, understated, not everything's explained to you, but you're feeling it, in a masterpiece. Charles Burns is, every ink that he lays down is perfection. So yeah, Final Cut, Charles Burns, that got my graphic novel of the year.
Can you show a little of the art of that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because that looks good.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really, really good. And it's really this a story. He's trying to make this sci-fi movie, and it has to do with kind of it's inspired by actual movies. It references Invasion of the Body Snatchers and a bunch of other books. But yeah, it's just this perfect kind of amazing book. And
did he do Black Hole?
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, why do I know that name? It's like, that he did that book. That was great in that then.
Exactly, and except this came out in English this year. It was printed in France or in French, I think last year or 2 years ago. But yeah, out in English this year, and so super excited to see it. And yeah, it's just it's amazing. It's the best book in my opinion. I loved it so much.
Awesome.
And there was good runners up. I mean, like this book from Ed Brubaker, this is really good. Houses of the Unholy, Grixley Comics, that was all really good. There were ones that I didn't know which one I was going to pick, but when Charles Burns doesn't come out with a big graphic novel every year, so when he does, you kind of got to pick it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, Johnny, what do you got for graphic novel of the year?
So for graphic novel of the year, this technically is not from this year, but the actual Epic Collection was published this year. And this is Ghost Rider Epic Collection, The Salvation Run. I absolutely adore these. Just from a perspective of someone like me who can't afford Ghost Rider issues. There's a very small rendition of the cover.
That's a sweet cover, though.
And the artwork, I'm here for it, man. It's so fun. The old Ghost Rider logo is such a trip. And I don't know, I just am really excited to find time to sit down and crush these and get my Ghost Rider history on. Hopefully I'll be reading some more spooky stuff coming up here shortly. I'm very excited about that. And this will likely be part of that.
Some of those Ghost Rider first issues are kind of interesting to read because they tell them in second person, like a very unused writing. It's like where you are they write it how you are watching it. It's like you see the man in flames on his motorcycle.
Oh boy!
You see him do a double flip off the ramp. You see him crash. It's just like, oh, this is very weird. It's very interesting to read, though. I like those first couple issues of that.
I'm excited.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. All right, well that's a good 3 graphic novels right there, guys. And we got Ghost Rider, we got Marvel vs. DC, and we got Final Cut. So congrats to all of those artists that are winning the most prestigious comic book award in the history of comic books, obviously. And so that brings us up to our next category. So we did best graphic novel. Now we are doing best writer. So there's a lot of writers out there, and we were talking about some of these mainstays, and Sam brought up this great point that maybe the all-star writers back, maybe we're back to, Alan Moore or Morrison type of levels with Tom King, with, Scott Snyder, James Tynion, and some of these really heavy hitters that pull lots of readers for every book. So let's see, guys, what made your best writer of the year? And John, since you went last time, how about this time you rock us first?
So I'm gonna go with my gut on this one, and I don't know if this is technically a prominent 2024 thing, but I've actually grown to really love his work as I've grown as a reader, and so I am going to give it to my boy Jeff Lemire.
Ooh, yeah.
But honorable mention, of course, to Sam for his story in Dottie's too.
Oh, that's very kind.
And
everyone's thinking.
And for those of you that are into really small press, Sam made a masterpiece about an owl. I have it around here somewhere. Oh, I do have it.
You did?
Oh, you're the zine.
Oh.
So if you guys are into that if you're into that real subtle stuff, you let me know and I'll throw it on eBay.
I got a bunch of them too, actually. I'll throw that on Bamboo.
But no, seriously, Jeff Lemire was awesome. Sam seriously did a good job though with Dottie.
Are you gonna read JSA, John? Because he's writing that now.
Maybe that's a jump for me. That is a team that intimidates me. I'm going to be honest with you, because when I used to stock books at Rainbow, the bulk of just the amount of history is so dense and rich. I'm sure it's very rich. I'm sure there's some amazing stories in there and character pulls and stuff, but it scares the balls out of me just from a money standpoint, because I know I'm going to love it and then want all of it. So, hello, I see
Merry
ya.
Christmas.
Yeah. How are you?
Wonderful.
Good.
Happy holidays.
Yes,
Happy
happy holidays to
holidays.
you.
Oh, the food. Love you.
Love you, honey. Heck yeah, man. Yeah. Love it. Pop in from Jenna. That's always nice for the Christmas holidays.
There you go.
Tom, how about you? Who's your writer of this year?
my writer of this year is Carolyn Cash. I think this person making poo poo pee pee. I think
I'll never get over that.
Yeah.
about the title.
Totally. But you should get past the title and you should read it. It is
You're right.
amazing, amazing book that flips everybody who thinks they're cool on their head. You know, she's got something for every type of person, genre of person, and she's really picking apart all of these different stereotypes of people and of relationships and of growing up and of coming of age and becoming your own person and getting your own house and starting your career. And she explores all of these different things through this, you know, underground comics, LGBT world that, you know, she's a part of. And I'm not a part of that world at all, but through her work, it is so smart. It's so intellectual. It's so funny. And so she's taking, you can tell, massive amounts of draw from old manga on how she lays out her stories and how she tells her stories. And so that's very different than a lot of Western comic book creators right now. And so she does that, mashing that up with a Western style and a cartoonist underground comics with an X style, to make something truly unique and amazing. In the writing specifically, the art's amazing, the layout's amazing. It's all about of what Carolyn Cash is encompassing. But I think her having this unique perspective on the world and sharing it with us is what makes her the writer of 2024 for me.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
See, I thought you were going to go for the Grixley guy.
Yeah, it was close, but Nate McDonough. I mean, he's definitely up there. Josh Pettinger as well. They're all ones that I really, really think their storytelling is next level good. Yeah. And Sam, how about you, man?
Mine was, I had to think about this a little bit because I could easily just say my favorite writer that I read almost everything of, which is Tom King, because I'm one of those guys.
Yeah. In the industry.
But I thought about it more, and I'm like, he gets enough saying things. So I want to think back and think about like something I've like actually quietly really enjoyed, not really thinking about the author until like right now. It's Jeremy Adams. Jeremy Adams?
He write? I don't even know.
He's writing Green Lantern.
Gotcha.
But he wrote a lot of Flash. He wrote, I think he wrote Flash right after Williamson got off it. And he's just like quietly kind of like, he takes characters that you thought are pretty much well trodden already at this point, kind of like, we're kind of done Hal Jordan, or we're kind of done with Barry or Wally at this point, right? And he still finds a way to, what he finds to do is tell a new story that maybe not know what you think it's going to be, or like what you were wanting out of it immediately, but telling a fun, entertaining story that quietly and subtly weaves in all the things you did like about it. I'll use Green Lantern as an example. Like how he approached the book at the start felt like it's just going to be Hal on Earth again, just doing Earth things. And like that does not sound fun to me. I don't know about that. But I kept reading it because I'm never going to stop reading Green Lantern. And it eventually kind of slowly faded into a pretty cool like story about like fighting against corrupt bureaucracy. And it brought back a lot of the cool like aspects of the Jeff Johns run, where it's like, do you kind of miss Larfleeze? What if we put Larfleeze in this really quick? And it's like, that's amazing. I haven't seen that dude in ages. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it finds a way to tell a original as you can get story with superhero comics, but also giving you a little bit of that like things that all nerds love, which is like that, oh, you remembered that thing I read 5 years ago. That's awesome. And it hits all the dopamine that you like, but also gives you something new to chew on with.
Love it. Right. I get it, Sam, right? They're playing with continuity, which every comic person freaking loves, right?
Mhm.
Because we all think we're so goddamn smart because we've been reading this shit for so long that we know what the continuity is. So then when it is like, ha, I do know, it's like fan service for us. So I feel that 100%, Sam. And yeah, it's cool that they're doing it in Green Lantern. And I love that you're bringing an a writer that I don't even know the name of on a first name basis, because that's the cool perspective that you have, Sam. So it's really awesome.
Too kind.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. All right. So we did.
Yeah. What do we got next, Sam? Okay. The next on the docket, we got
Artist?
Best Artist. All right.
So
This is a tough one, huh?
this was a very tough one.
This was very hard for me, and I'll tell you, the person that I ended up giving it to is actually going to win. There's going to be a duel. There is going to win a couple categories here. So I'm going to go first on this one and just jump right off the bat. But I'll tell you what, man, every couple years, something comes through where I'm like, good God damn, that art is next level. We're now working with some sort of thing that normal people can't understand. It's like when those Doctor Strange books were coming out, I was flabbergasted, right? You guys, I talked about it all the time, but that kind of feeling that evoked feeling, as you guys know, I love, psychedelic things. I like things that look very weird. I like things that push the limits of reality. And I don't think anybody did that better than Ian Bertram. Ian Bertram is the artist behind Precious Metal. So this is the Precious Metal book, and Ian Bertram did the art. And so this is some of my favorite art of the entire year. But the person just really, it's not your normal comic booking. It's these crazy characters look much different than we've ever seen before. The layout is very, very cinematic, but you get absolute crazy details and structured, and storytelling is perfect until it does start to get very trippy and weird. And you have a lot of these characters that have these outfits that kind of mold to how big the panel is or how big the page is. And it really starts to get like insanely detailed and beautiful throughout the entire thing. Everything is set up so perfectly. I just thought it blew me away from start to finish, from the beginning to the end. These books were just, and I think this has a big manga influence as well, or at least kind of that, Japanese influence of like, just, it's so cool. I mean, just alone, like these panels right here, this is like, a character holding another character right here, all wrapped up in, it's so weird. It's so sci-fi. It's so hard sci-fi. All of these covers are absolutely fucking batshit insanely cool. They're just so awesome. So my artist of the year, hands down, Ian Bertram. Great job, man.
See, I thought you were gonna go do like, what's his name? Trad Moore?
Yeah, that's who did the Doctor Strange. But he didn't put out a book that I absolutely loved like Strange this year. So
okay, like that is really sick though. The art in that was very cool. I'm gonna have to go track those issues down sometime. It kind of looks like a modern interpretation of Moebius stuff.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, more detail, a lot more smaller ink lines. Morbius is so much cleaner. Generally, less line work. This is way more pointillism and different character designs. But I mean, it's worth it. Just if you see it on the shelf, just flip through it. I mean, just trying to keep your head around the story is actually kind of hard, but the art is so good. So
that does look really cool.
All right, John, what do you got for artist of 2024?
Yeah, I've been lurking here on my collection. Evidently, I'm logged out on my computer and I don't know my password, so that's nice. But I'm glad I have this app on my phone. So I was kind of thinking that there were a couple of things that stood out to me, but overall, I have to say that I thoroughly enjoyed the vibe of Blood Hunt. The book, the main book, and Pepe Larraz had just so much fun with it. And I think that for me, just having that win after win, I would have to give it to him for 2024. Um,
Awesome.
is it the best ever? No, because he didn't do Dark Avengers. So sorry. But for this year, I'd have to give it to him though. He really brought the darkness over the summer, and I'm here for that. So.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. Love to hear that. And Sam, how about you? Who's your artist of the year?
You know, this was a harder one for me because there wasn't like immediately like one that came to my head. But just like with Jeremy Adams, I had to think about it and went, what's one that just I've constantly always enjoyed? And they've been doing the book that I've been reading for like ages at this point since 22. But I just feel like now is the time to kind of give them their flowers here. And I'm going to try to pronounce the name correctly here. So give me one momento.
Give them those flowers, Sam. I love to hear it.
All the flowers.
I believe the artist is named Alessandro Cappuccio. And they do the art on the Moon Knight books.
Gotcha.
I think what I really enjoy about them is that they really do action very well. It has like it has a good flow to it. You can definitely see what the characters are doing and how they're moving in there. It has a cool style to it where it's almost painterly. It's not painterly, but you could kind of see like if they wanted to like blow it up and put it in paint, they totally could. And the thing about it is it's like really consistent. It has a wonderful tone to it for Moon Knight specifically, but they could do other characters in there. Like when they drew Venom, I was like, oh my god, that was so cool.
Yeah.
But like it like brings the ambiance of a Dark Knight very, very well, and like how Moon Knight just kind of irradiates like the light off of him with it. And like whenever this artist does books now, I might just start catching it because this stuff is really good. I mean, just look at that one right there.
It's so moody, and the thing about Moon Knight is that you get the contrast because the white and black, and so it's like an artist that really knows how to play that against each other. It makes it really good.
Yeah, it's really well done stuff, and it's like quietly incredible. Which I think I think that's maybe the thing of 2024, quietly incredible for the year of 2024 with comics.
Love it, Sam. You're finding some good gems, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So that brings us to our next one, which is not the best single comic. That's going to be our true and tried and true number one. But this is the best series of 2024. So the best series of that came out in 24 or that you guys read in 2024. John, do you want to start us off with best series?
Ooh. I mean, we all know where I'm going with this one. But Werewolf by Night may or may not have released a new book. All right. Now, the caveat to that is I've read one issue of it so far. But,
sometimes that's all you need, buddy.
But, for me, I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I need to give also roses where they're due. And DC often is third wheel for me, and this time it's not. There's the Batman Werewolf book where they have the glow-in-the-dark covers. Okay, so somebody must have been watching our show and decided, hey, let's get John to buy our books and have him thoroughly love them. And so, yeah, what is it, Batman like Full Moon or something like that? Yeah, artwork's banging, writing's banging, lettering is on point. Like, I'm
nice.
a huge lettering nerd now. Like, I see all the accents that people do, and I'm like, yes. So I am very excited about all of that they're doing. I think that from DC, I would like more of that. Night Terrors was okay for me. I had very high hopes for it, but it was okay. I wanted to like it more, though. But when DC does like a true like standalone thing, like Batman: The Long Halloween, the racy Santa Claus 1 in 25 cover from Batman and Santa Claus recently was also amazing. Shout out to DC. But Werewolf by Night, baby. That's where we're at.
Oh yeah. Of course. I mean, we should have known, Sam. It shouldn't
really
be that, it was that big of a surprise, right?
Hey, a man knows what he likes.
That's right. That's right. I love it. I love it too, John. And so, Sam, what do you got for best series of the year for 2024?
This one was another really hard one for me because there's been a lot of stuff I've really enjoyed, which is a wonderful problem to have, honestly.
Mhm.
So I had to think about it, and I went, what do I love just all around? Story being told, the art being put upon me, and the artist doing it, and the story of how it came to be. I put what encompasses all of that. I found it. Helen of Windhorn by Dark Horse.
That's cool. Yeah, I think
This-
that's a great pick.
This book, the art in it makes me do backflips.
Hmm.
I can't do backflips, but apparently when I read this book, I can. The book is just stunning, and especially once you get into the later issues. We're only 6 issues in, so later issues, but the like 3 or 4, like they really go into the like more fantastical world of it, and god dang man, it is just stunning. If they were to do like a series of this, you should only do it if you can somehow make that art happen.
Mm.
And Tom King really does a fantastic job, like putting you in the sense and the headspace of the characters. And when he's writing it, you don't really feel like you can find the Kingisms, or maybe you can, like, you're just reading a book here. Like, you definitely feel like you're the caretaking lady really stressing out that this girl is going on a barbarian adventures with her grandfather. And he does a fantastic job with that. And when I was hearing the pitch for the book, I immediately fell in love with it, because the whole idea is that I believe Tom wanted to write a story that was about, like, apparently there was a genre back in the day about girls to like girls in like gothic settings where they would like inherit spooky mansions, or they would have to solve a mystery or something. He wanted to write something kind of like that. So he wanted to have a young female protagonist, and he also wanted to tie into some like Conan stuff. So what he did was like, all right, so this girl, her dad passes away, but her dad was well known for writing these fantastic adventures of this barbarian man. And he passes away. The caretaker lady takes her on. Turns out her granddad was that barbarian man that all the stories were written about. And now she wants to follow in the footsteps of this. And how it's written and the art portraying it makes it feel so otherworldly and so interesting. And you can kind of tell why our main character is the way she is, and you can tell why like the side characters are constantly stressed out, and you can see where the grandfather's coming from on it. And it's just all around like a 10 out of 10 book to me. And I can't wait for every issue when it comes out. It's one that I sit there and read for 25 minutes, even though I could probably breeze through it in like 10, because I really want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Isn't that always the sign of
Mhm.
just a great book when you want to do that? Oh, love it, John. Or excuse me, love it, Sam.
My middle
awesome.
name's John. It counts.
Hey, perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Sam John. That's what I was going with. So best series.
What's yours, Mr. Tom?
And this is where it was close, because there are good series this year, right? Get Fury. I don't know if you guys read that one at all, but the Nick Fury Punisher in Vietnam mashup by Garth
Oh.
Ennis.
Our
It's
friend
like-
Patrick was reading that. Really dug that one.
It's like, it's perfect Garth Ennis stuff. Nobody writes Vietnam better than him, I assure you. It's in his wheelhouse. He loves writing it. And so that was a great book. Also on the other end, a funny book was Grommets. You know, Grommets came out, and it's about skateboarding, and it's about just hanging with your friends and doing stupid stuff and saying a lie and then get caught in that lie. And I don't know, it's just like such a relatable a book. And so there's all these really, really good books, but I just felt that goddamn art on Precious Metal was so good that this is my series of the year. I just thought it was so heady. Every single book was good. I loved it. I couldn't find number 1. I already packed it up in here somewhere, but I got the rest 1 through 5. One came out in 2023 at the end, and then the rest came out in 2024. So I'm still calling it a 2024 series. It's based on this other Image book called Little Bird, which also had this amazing artist, working on it. But I just felt that they have grown so much that this has been so much more impactful. That my series of the year is Precious Metal. But yeah, definitely shout out all those other amazing series that came out this year. Just for me, Precious Metal really takes the cake.
Absolutely. I mean, judging just by that art, I'm like, oh, yeah, I need to read that. 100%.
Exactly. So that brings us to our last one, right, guys? This is the best single issue comic of the year. What was that comic that you read that had a lot of impactful, that was impacted you, that you couldn't, that you thought was really good, that you wanted to highlight it for 2024? Who wants to go first? Anybody want to volunteer?
I think you should go first.
I think you should go first.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I definitely, because it was actually not a hard choice at all. There was a book that I read this year that made me cry like 3 different times throughout the actual book, and it made me actually put it down all 3 times when I hit to these different places, and then made me contact the writer afterwards and the artist to really just say, you can't imagine how impactful this thing was to me. And it came out during Halloween, and it's a scary, spooky book, and it's The Horror House from Ice Cream Man. This book is supposed to be a play on The Horror House, right? The classic, it's a house. We got a free house in Amityville. Let's go live there, right? It's the classic that we've seen everybody. But when they get into the house, there's 3 doors of horrors, and the horrors are actually just things that are happening in our world. School shootings, climate change, Roe v. Wade being overturned. It's crazy, right? This is talking about how crazy our world is right now, making me emotional talking about it. Because with, we got leadership coming in office that we don't want. It's a tough time in our world. We just had another school shooting in Wisconsin. And so it's like, yeah, all the different horror that we get throughout our entire lives, we read that because it pulls us away from the actual horrors of the world. And so this book really impacted me. So yeah, number 1 this year.
I 100% agree with you, man. Like I got to read that book now, first and foremost. But I mean, totally. I totally realize, but
it's too real, right? You don't want you don't want your books to be like that. You don't want your books to have, Roe overturned.
Mm-hmm. It's
That's
like
for our society,
Yeah.
It sucks. It's a bad deal that a lot of the things that are happening today, 19 children dead at a school shooting. It was a real comic. It was the scariest comic I've ever read in my life. So yeah, it's hard for me to talk about, obviously, as you guys can see, because those things mean a lot to me. The world means a lot to me. I want positivity in our world. I want somebody to help us bring change and growth to our society. And right now I don't see that happening. So it's the most real comic I've ever read. And yeah, it's the most impactful comic I've ever read. It was so good. It was so good. Yeah.
and oftentimes when we as people can't even articulate the frustration, the anxiety with a lot of things that happen around us that we can't even control.
Yeah, and as you guys know, with me, right? Where do we live? We live in a city that isn't going to listen to a lot of the opinions that a lot of us have. So it's tough. It's tough, and that's why you gotta keep your friends close and lean on your boys and your friends and your family, man, because the rest of the world is really hard to take in as a whole.
We got you, Tom. We'll always got you.
That's right, Sam. I know you
We'll
do.
always
buddy.
get you.
Love you guys.
Man, I got to read that book now.
Yeah, it's crazy though. It's not good.
I mean, I'm gonna read that and I'm gonna be like, damn.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna
You
I'm going offline for 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. Yeah, it's crazy. But both those the writer and the artist both reached back out to me and had long responses on how it impacted them and how they came about this, and also like a lot of the hate they get for trying to do these kind of things. So that was really cool, really eye opening.
They put out there, they put it out there to tell people like, this ain't right, and sometimes you have to be brave enough to put it out there, and they did it, and you showing your support for it is you being brave, putting that out there too.
Yep, exactly.
So I love it, man. 100%.
All right, let's get off of this so I can stop.
Now let's rewind here. Yeah, that was amazing though, Tom. I 100% love that.
For sure.
So, all right, I think I'll go next here. Actually, we had a preview of my favorite book of the year. Believe it or not, everyone, we had a preview of it. On the show. So this may be a bit of recency bias, but purely, I was trying to find the thing that gave me the most emotional impact, frankly, and I didn't have something so that strong, but I did have something that gave me made me hit to come back and think a little bit, and like it kind of hit me in a spot that I already was kind of thinking in a way, and that was actually Absolute Superman #2.
Yeah.
This is the best absolute series book right now. Is the Superman one, to me at least. I know Absolute Batman's amazing. I'm right there with you. Absolute Wonder Woman, phenomenal.
Nice. I didn't read it.
It's phenomenal. It's great. But Absolute Superman, I think it wears what it's saying on its chest. It is telling you this is what it's about, and like you could probably say it's quite obtuse, I suppose you could say, if you wanted to have a critique of it. But it's what it's saying kind of resonates with me a little bit, where this is a Superman who did live on Krypton, where a lot of the the people on high didn't want to listen to the people who were most concerned about their planet and their about like how things were going, and there was the lesser people, like the discarded folk. And when Krypton went bye-bye, Clark was saved, but he had this strong melancholy to him where he goes, I don't know if I'm always lonely. I have nobody who's going to be like me here, and I'm terrified to show myself. But also, I know what it's like to be downtrodden, and I know what it's like to be taken advantage of. And I will, if as long as I breathe, I will not let that happen to somebody I see. And he saves these miners from like hired guns, who are like taking advantage of them. And like before, like they even get to mining, he gets all of the minerals out, and then he leaves it in there so the miners can take credit for it. And still the hired guns take it, like, rough him up. So he's like, I don't love this. It comes down, and he's there for like the people, for the people. And there's a line in there where he goes to this version of Lois Lane and says to her, there's this place, an island near a country. I'm not going to go back and look it up. Most of the time it's the sun is up, but when the lights are down and it's finally night, the amount of stars you see is like you're looking at 17,000 galaxies. Most of the planets, most of all suns and planets out there are just revolved around dust and rocks. Don't you know how beautiful all this is? And it made me think about it, and like made me think it is a crazy amount of probabilities that had to happen to where I can be sitting here right now talking about a book that somebody wrote and drew with two other people on a internet live stream, and I'm surrounded by like all these man-made creations that I can breathe this air, I can drink this beer. How many crazy random coincidences had to happen for this to happen, and we kind of just take it for granted.
Oh yeah, I think that's great. Just puts everything in perspective, right? That we're just tiny little nothing in one
Okay, I don't know about that.
one blip that happened a billion years ago and we would have all been gone. But because that, something didn't happen, now our world got atmosphere and others didn't. And yeah, I agree, Sam. That's always so cool to think about.
It's humbling, but also very beautiful. It makes you really grateful for what you have and the people surround you. It's just like, I really felt Superman in that moment. I went like,
dude, we said at the beginning, baby, Superman is back. Sam's poster is not lying.
He's back, everyone. He's back, everyone.
Wait,
I'll never get used to it. I'll never get used to it.
I love it. Yeah, Sam, that's so what a great answer.
Yeah, absolute Superman, everybody. You should be reading this.
Yes. All right, Johnny, what do you got, buddy?
Well, this one is kind of a fun one for me. It started in October. Well, no, I'm looking at Diamond right here. November release date of 2023, but it went into 2024, and I can't tell you how highly I think of this book and of its creator. But Haunted House: A Love Story. It's a 6-issue thing, and it's from our friend Winston Gambro, who did the Bamboo Panel Studios logo. He did the Cosmotrope and Dottie's logos, and he also did Comics by Night logo. And so this guy is amazing and incredibly talented, and it's been so fun watching him just launch from. He still does logos and everything. He also works for Oni Press now, doing interior design on several of their books. And just watching him get to do his own publication and crush it and be successful. He's just such a good guy. He's very hardworking. And I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It was a lot of fun. So I have to give the crown to this
fantastic book.
Spooky, amazing book.
What a great book. That's a great pick, John. And it was a great book. No doubt about it. Well, awesome, folks. Well, that's 2024 best of. I mean, holy smokes! The everybody gets a Academy Award. They're all handing out to the creators. Don't you guys worry. They're we know the whole industry's been watching this entire episode.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, super fun to get together and talk about the best of. Oh, there
Whoa.
That's the real best, though.
That's the real best. That's Sioux Falls only. No. Oh yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out. You got anything else that we should talk about before we wrap up here?
Randy actually asked if you can say the title of the book you had said for the best comic.
Mine was Ice Cream Man Horror House. Yeah. It's issue 42. All of the Ice Cream Mans are one shots though, so you never have to read the one beforehand. So just Ice Cream Man Horror House, issue 42. Yeah, very scary, very, very scary. Unfortunately,
very real.
Too real. But yeah, cool, man. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out, John. Love seeing you, buddy. I've missed you, dog. Sam, love seeing you. Missed you, dog. So yeah,
absolutely miss you both.
Just great to catch up.
I do have something. I would be in big trouble if I didn't lift this.
Yeah,
up.
You would be.
I'd be in big trouble. So our Kickstarter got funded, for Bamboo Panel Studio stuff. We actually have an online store finally. So this is freaking exciting because we've been working on this. Sam actually helped build the majority of this. And we're very excited to finally be able to launch it. So it is literally bamboopanelstudios.com. So a little bit of a longer URL, but it takes you straight to our Square store. And if you click on this handy option of Shop All, it'll route you to all of our beautiful wares, all of our different covers, including some of the new friends that we met in the Kickstarter, our branded coffee mugs, and then I finally got the stickers to work where it shows the different kinds of stickers that we have. So we're really excited about that. It's great to finally have an online presence and to have a shipping infrastructure. Shout out to Ken for the mentoring on that. And I got a lot of these. I can't show the address for privacy, but a lot of these cuties are going in the mail for the Kickstarter, and I'll be sending out some PDFs probably tonight or tomorrow. We'll see. So I'm excited, and thank you to everyone that supported the Kickstarter too. It was really cool to see the project get funded, and Randy's going to take those funds and start working on issue 2 of Cosmotrope. So
Get hype, everybody.
Yeah, get hyped. I mean, that's so cool, John. And John, you also have another thing happening this year.
yeah,
Yeah, so many things, John.
That I haven't talked to you about at all, but I've heard the news through the vines. that
well,
you're
which
you're
one?
running yourself your own con this year.
So yeah, like when you like spooky things, you make spooky friends. What can I say? And so yeah, Screams from the Basement podcast and myself through Comics by Night, we kind of decided, hey, we know a thing or two about running conventions. Let's try to build kind of a horror con, specifically in the Sioux Falls area. And so we're going to try it out, a one-day event coming up in April. It is called Screams by Night, so it takes both of our names, loops them together. Shout out to Casey from Screams for making that logo with the chip tooth. It's so cute. And I told him that I absolutely want t-shirts of that, because I will rock the heck out of that. Tickets are on sale now. It is Saturday, April 26th from 11 a.m. And then it's just a 6-hour event until 5 p.m. So it's just easy. It's at the Social. Parking is easy. There's going to be just a lot of spooky themed vendors. We have the Sioux Falls Krampus monsters appearing. So they just made their debut. 2 weeks ago, and they are going to be there to help us celebrate halfway to Halloween. So I'm excited.
So cool, John. I mean,
That
you
is
never.
amazing.
If you think that John's plate is getting less full, don't worry.
No.
He will pile more things on top of that plate.
Yeah.
And it's only for our community's benefit every single time. So thank you so much, John, for the work you're doing, laying out this super sick event with the boys, Sam and Casey.
Yeah.
I'm just really, really excited for you, man.
And they're amazing. And shout out, full credit to Casey too. All these visuals, Casey is just crushing it, And so I'm just trying to keep up. And I told him that. I said, hey, I'll help with the venue and whatever I can do, So Casey's really just been an amazing partner, and Sam is just a hoot to work with. So yeah.
Love those guys. So yeah, congrats, Sean. Though I'm really excited, and we'll have to be promoting that every single week. We want a lot of people to show up, so it's a real success, and everybody wants to come for year 2. So.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, should become the next big thing.
That's right. That's right.
We'll see.
Uh-oh.
Wow. Holiday
Welcome back.
cameo.
Love you so
Yeah.
much, you
Oh,
guys. Give Ken all my love.
I will.
Thank you.
Also, I am inspired by Tom, Jenna. I did my braids tonight.
Over here.
Yeah.
What? What'd you do?
I did my braids tonight.
Ooh,
Tom,
I love it.
Tom rocks them all the time, so I said it's my turn. So I was just on the
I'll
couch.
do
like,
mine next.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
You are one of a kind, John. You are absolutely the purest person that I can think of in the moment. So
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
yeah, cheers.
John's getting the glow. John's getting the glow up tonight. Are you
All
having
right,
a
guys.
John?
That's
Well,
awesome.
All right, everybody.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll end with we end with our video again. Is that how we do it, right?
How we do it.
All right, man. So, all right, begging and boarding's never boring.
Keep it comics.
Boom.
Our Comic Book Club, your weekly TV show on comic book culture.